episode, I'll be addressing one very current and intensely debated issue on all social media platforms recently, and that is the issue of vaccination. However, for the purposes of my sharing session in this episode, I'll be narrowing the scope down to the issue of vaccination at the workplace from the perspective of the employer's obligations on the issue. So to kick things off, let me give you a brief introduction to the topic. As we all know, there have been numerous announcements by a lot of pharmaceutical companies all around the world recently of the newly developed and formulated COVID-19 vaccines. And these announcements have been met with mixed responses by people all around the world. However, I think it is important to say here that these announcements have actually resulted in a lot of people now having high hopes that our lives will now finally be able to return to how it once was, which is before the COVID-19 pandemic. Okay. However, the emergence of these COVID-19 vaccines obviously comes with its own set of legal challenges. From the employment law perspective. Also, just to point out, the issue of vaccination at the workplace is also related to the concept of health and safety in the workplace. Now, let's move on to the legal position to the issue of vaccination at workplace. So, in terms of legal position, right, in Malaysia, as far as I know, there is no statutory provision which imposes specific legal obligations on employers to vaccinate their employees, either before commencing employment or just simply before entering into the workplace. With the nature of this absence of express statutory obligation or right, one question that may arise would be that whether an employer can compel their employees to be vaccinated before commencing employment with that employer or just before entering the workplace. So in dealing with this issue, I think employers will need to consider the following three legal issues to be considered. Firstly, the duty to provide a safe system of work. Second, the medical risks arising from the taking of the COVID-19 vaccines. And thirdly, circumstances that may justify compulsory vaccination at the workplace. And now, let me briefly share my recommendations with you on this issue. So employers ought to be mindful that of the various legal obligations, various legal conditions in formulating and designing policies to administrate the COVID-19 vaccine. And with that being said, I think that if an employer would like to introduce some kind of vaccination program, some kind of vaccination scheme, some kind of vaccination policy, then I think that employer would like to consider the following issues as guidelines. Firstly, in general, employers must remember that they cannot compel their employees to be vaccinated. Okay, so that's first. The second is that I feel that the employers should bear the responsibility to advise their employees of all of the known potential side effects that may arise from the taking of the COVID-19 vaccines. And I think it's important here to stress this guideline, especially to the employees who are in the high-risk category. Thirdly, the employers must remember that the final decision to take the vaccine will be on the employee, okay, not on the employer. And last but not least, I feel that at any point of time, an employee would like to get themselves vaccinated, I think it would be wise of the employer to get that employee's consent expressed in writing, okay, just to be safe. And lastly, to conclude, at the end of the day, employers are advised to seek for practical legal advice because of the fluidity and the novel legal issues that may or will likely arise from the rollout of these COVID-19 vaccines.